Thanks, Martin. We're going to break for one-on-one shortly. We're going to open the floor for questions. Any questions for any of us here? Feel free to ask away.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Is this going to be the biggest crowd for the PrizeFighter?
Yes, it will be. I mean, we did the heavyweight prize fighters, which Audley Harrison won. We had about 5,000 in XL that night in London. So I expect, I expect this to be a sellout. I mean, we've sold more tickets, actually sold more tickets over the first weekend of going on sale than they sold for Fury Pavlik for the entire box office for the 7-week lead up for the fight. So, actually, when you look online, and these guys are taking a serious amount of tickets as well, and with Paul McCloskey with his, mediocre ticket sales that he tends to generate, I can't see how it won't be sold out. I mean, we looked at the Odyssey. PrizeFighter is a very different event. It needs a special kind of arena and a special kind of atmosphere. If you don't bang out the arena, then I don't really think you ever maximise the atmosphere. And the Odyssey Arena holds, I think, 9,000. King's Hall can get up to 6,000. But with that balcony style there at the King's Hall, I think it could be a very, very special atmosphere. And it's an iconic venue for an iconic night.
Eddie, is PrizeFighter going to run straight through?
Yes.
Like, in other words, the final is going to be before Paul? Correct,
yeah. There's a 20-minute gap before the final. Yeah. Actually, it's been shortened now to 15-minute gap. So, you'll have your 4 quarter-finals, then your semi-final, and then your final, and then literally we'll be saying well done, and then Paul straight in for his big fight.
Eddie, can you give us any more sort of expand a bit more just in the whole world title picture for Paul? I mean, just what have been the roadblocks, and where can it sort of open up from? Do you think?
Well, many
particular battle?
Yeah, many roadblocks. There's many roadblocks, and let me tell you some of them. Firstly, is Paul is not a fighter. The American networks are getting very, very particular. I mean, you've seen the problems we've had with. I've just brought Lucian Butte over to fight Carl Froch in Nottingham. That's a fight that Showtime have actually turned down. And they're getting very, very particular now, as are Sky Sports, about the kind of fights that they want to show. And we're disappointed with the Carl Froch, but that gives you an example. Carl Froch, who's had 6 fights throughout Super 6 series on that channel. They want American fighters. They want big name American fighters. So what I'm saying is that for Marcos Maidana to go to an HBO or a Showtime and say, I'd like to fight Paul McCloskey in America, they've got no interest in that fight. They've got very little interest in Marcos Maidana anyway, unless he's fighting a big name American. And obviously they don't know a great deal about Paul. So that's the first obstacle you face. Then you need to get the fighter over here. Well, the answer to that is we offered Marcos Maidana $300,000, I've said it a million times, plus worldwide TV. Now, if he's got absolutely any ability within his management organisation at all, that worldwide TV is worth a minimum of $300,000. But effectively, and I know some people rate Marcos Maidana for, and they're entitled to their opinion, but effectively he's coming over to lose. You're paying a man to come over to lose because he would lose, and I think they half know that. The problem with Marcos Maidana is he's got about 15 people working for him. Marcos Maidana would be over the moon with $300,000. But his manager, Golden Boy, some other bloke down in Puerto Rico, his mate who's been involved for 10 years, and some bloke who washes his car, also wants 5%, 10%, 15%, you know what I mean? So,
are we coming to the conclusion then that Paul will have to travel for a world title?
Potentially. I don't think he's bothered about travelling. Listen, we'd happily go to Las Vegas to fight for a world title, happily. In an ideal world, you always want to bring him to the UK. But that's not always possible. I mean, at $300,000, we were pricing ourselves at quite a risky number, whereby we'd have to sell out the Odyssey and get a nice whack from Sky to make that happen. But you're willing to take the risk, make the investment. But the response that we had from them was, oh no, it would have to be significantly more than that. Not even, how about 400,000? It wasn't even.
Is it just the case that Sky don't pay enough for you to bring world title fights to Britain anymore?
Not necessarily. Sky pay fees which are dependent upon the ratings. And at the end of the day, boxing is not rating particularly well in the UK. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's not rated, you look at something like the darts rating that we do, it's 3 or 4 times that of a boxing show. An average Saturday night fight night on Sky might rate at 150,000. PrizeFighter will rate at 400,000. And that's another reason why I wanted to put Paul on this bill, because you grow the profile to a bigger audience. The first thing to do is to give value for fight fans, and I know I've harped on about that, but this is cracking value. But also, people want to turn on. I think what the problem is with boxing at the moment, people are turning on the channel and seeing half-full leisure centres with shit fights. And that appeals to nobody. That kills the game, it kills the audience. And anyone who's an aspiring fight fan, or anyone who's an aspiring viewer, is going to turn on the TV and say, what is this? And turn it straight over. You know, as bad as the Klitschko fight was, it's got 55,000 people in there, and it's a big, big show. Now, to us, most of the people in this room who are hardcore boxing fans, thought it was a load of bollocks. Excuse my French a few times here, but you know, but the casual fan, the casual. I've been spending too much time here. That's the problem. The casual fan turned it on and went, "Wow, this is unbelievable," and that's the state of the fight market in Germany. They're backwards compared to the British fans. No, but the British fans are a much more experienced fight. You think that British fans would accept Klitschko against Mormek, like but the Germans all left that with a smile on their face. And you know, that fight rated at nearly 500,000 on Sky. You know, and the week before was, I don't know, Scott Quigg against someone which rated at 80,000. You know, so people are tuning in to watch the big fights, and PrizeFighter, it is what it is. You know, it is a gimmick. You know, but it's a great gimmick, a great concept, and it gives these boys an unbelievable chance to change their life and catapult themselves into a whole new dimension within the division and leapfrog all the competition. But what it does for the casual fans, they turn it on, they say, this is unbelievable. 8 fighters, 7 fights, double your money, winner stays on. 3 3-minute rounds, absolutely hammer and tong at it, all night. You know, and you know what you're going to get from these guys. You know, we've had prize fighters before where you look at some of the entrants and you think, are you really going to put it all on the line? But tell me one of these boys that isn't, you know, and you can hear it in their voice, you can see it in their eyes. You know, they're all going to go for it on the night, and that's what you've got to continue to do. You've got to do great shows. It's just the red button, just the red button.
It's a new one. I don't have to put it on. Sorry, Eddie.
How many people do you expect to tune in tonight?
On Sky,
yeah.
I would think somewhere in the region of 400,000 or 500,000. You know, it's a big audience, but the guys have got to embrace that. You know, they've got to go for it. They've got to show their personality. This is a once-in-a-lifetime shot for a lot of people. Some have never fought on TV, some will never fight on TV again. But this is like your FA Cup final, it's your world title shot. You go out, get out there, you've got to live the music, you've got to live the atmosphere, you've got to go in, give it the big one. Give it the royal big one. You know, you've got to go and try and win.
Will there be many people tuning in from England, do you think?
Well, all of them from England. It's on Sky Sports, you know. But you know, I mean, from Sky, the bulk of the audience will come from the UK. But obviously, it's going to have a big following in Ireland as well. You'd hope so, being an all-Ireland prize fighter. You know, but I think that generally it's never been done before, and it is a little bit risky, you know, because essentially when the bulk of our audience is from England, you know, is it going to have the same appeal? But you know, in England, the Irish have got a great reputation for having a great punch-up. You know, and that's where the term "fighting Irish" comes from, because it's like you know, it's a perception of the English fans that the Irish love to go in there and have a great fight and a great tear-up, and these boys will all do that, so they won't let anyone down.
Last question to you: can you ever see an Irish-English prize fighter?
England versus Ireland. Yeah, well, that was the concept originally. I didn't think we'd be able to find 8 quality middleweights to take part in this event who'd be willing to. I really didn't expect Mark Heffron to be up for entering PrizeFighter, or Eamon O'Kane. You know, no disrespect to the other boys as well, but these are 2 unbeaten prospects here. You know, who really, you know, admire what they're doing, but they don't have to take this opportunity or try and take this opportunity. So I was expecting, you know, 4 or 5 people, but we had an email, and thanks to a lot of the Irish website guys, Leonard Gunning in particular, who sent us a report on everybody. You know, and I won't show you that report because he wasn't too complimentary about a lot. but that shows you the interest that it's created. People care.
Sign them up in the cheap.
Yeah. But people care. You know, and that's what drives you to do shows in Belfast, is a response. Every time we do a press conference, it's a great turnout. Every time we do a fight, it's a great turnout. And you get a great response from the people, so you want to come back. You know, we can't do 6 shows a year in Ireland, and I really wanted to do a prize fighter in Ireland, and this was the only way to make it happen.
Okay. Well, the last thing is, as I say, down south, a huge amount of interest, and so thanks for bringing it over.
That's all right, and I think what's important to all these guys, and the fighters in particular, is everybody sells as many tickets as possible, because the whole thing about prize fighters, you've got your army of fans. You know, you've got your coaches from Roscommon coming down. You've got all of Lurgan coming to support Ryan Green. You know, you've got Dublin coming to watch Anthony Fitzgerald get knocked out. You know, I mean, sorry. But brave No, but you know, but listen, all jokes aside about Anthony, that's great, because there will be a lot of people hoping he gets knocked out. But that's okay, because that sells tickets. Everybody used to turn out to watch, everyone used to turn up to watch Chris Eubank get knocked out, Nazim Hamed. It doesn't matter, you know, as long as you're creating interest and you're putting bums on seats, then you're doing a good job, and you know, you do that. So
Eddie, is the Madonna fight, in your opinion, is it dead in the water, or will you maybe go back in after Paul, if technically comes through this fight? It's back Madonna's lost the fight now, maybe Paul's pressed on, maybe try it again? Yeah,
it all depends. I mean, really, he should be stripped of his title from the WBA. Yeah, but will that happen? Probably not. You know, because he's got very close links with the WBA. But you know, the whole business, I'm sort of coming around to the fact that actually, are world titles that important? And I know they are, but I think in 5 years' time, it won't be about the world titles. It'll be about the quality of fights. Because really, some of the stuff that's going on in the organisations make no sense at all. I mean, we couldn't have a Paul McCloskey press conference without talking about Amir Khan. You know, and how's he been given his WBA title back? What's all that about? You know, it kills the sport. It's like, that makes no sense at all. Paul Lamont Peterson's gone in there. He's won the fight. You know, bloke with a hat or no bloke in a hat. Forgot about that. You can score it any way you want. Some score it to Peterson, some score it to Khan. Bottom, he won the fight. How can you strip him of a belt for doing that? Anyway, we won't go on to that. But, you know, it makes you think that. And that's why, actually, the McCloskey-Prescott fight was such a great fight. No world title, but just the perfect opponent and a perfect night and a perfect fight. Was well worthy of a world title fight. But in answer to your question, the ultimate goal is always to win a world title. So we'll be doing everything we can, and the work never stops to try and bring him over. But when you look at Madonna's options now, what are they?
Was there any truth in the rumours that you were close to getting Casillas over?
Yeah, Casillas was another one. He decided to stay at lightweight. That was a great fight. Would have been a great fight, Casillas against Paul. You know, honestly, probably tried to close to 60 opponents. You know, for Paul McCloskey. And the Curtis Woodhouse was a situation where all I want is someone who's prepared to come and fight. I don't want someone to come over who's just going to hide in the shell for 12 rounds, stink the place out. And for Curtis Woodhouse, it would have been his absolute world title fight. He would have come and given everything, you know. But I'm lucky he didn't take the fight in him, because the response wasn't very good. You know, we had to backtrack on that quite quickly.
After a fight in Americana and like the going on Woodhouse would have been a step.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You know, you're just going to sit there and sulk. You know, you can't. You know, and at the end of the day, that's what we spoke to France and we spoke to Paul, and they said the same. You know, we can sit here and wait and wait and wait, and some people do wait and wait and wait. By the way, but what's the point? You've got to get out there. You've got to put food on the table for your family. You've got to keep banging on the door, and the way you do that is banged out, sold out arenas, great fights, big support, and huge exposure on Sky. And hopefully they'll come. They will come, but just not in May.
Sorry, I want to ask Mark a question, but just an aside beforehand, you were talking about Ghana and his entourage and the percentages.
Yeah.
Archie Moore once discovered that he had sold 105% of himself. Anyway, sorry, can I just ask Mark, I mean, it's all Irish, so what's the Irish connection for Mark?
For Mark Heffron. Mark's got family in Cork. He's got history and family from Cork. We're not just slinging him in because.
No. Just wanted to know.
But he's got a big following in Cork as well, and they're going to be coming up with Gary Hyde. So you know that.
And Gary's big enough.
Yeah, but I'm glad you made him feel at home anyway.
Paul, how hard has it been to get the word around the fact that you expected the world title fight to come after such a good win against Prescott?
Well, it is what it is, you know, you can't lie about talking. Obviously, I love to for a world title fight this year, but there's been boys we've asked people to come and fight, and I'll be happy as well, but it just hasn't been happening. So we just want to get on and get busy again, and just get the ball rolling again, you know.
Is there a bit of pressure to kind of perform to try and catch the American networks and stuff like that? Because you've sort of tried every avenue, like, if you know what I mean?
I don't know, for me it's just about winning my fights. If the American boys like me, that's a bonus, you know.
Just to add on that, Paul, sorry. This is also shown in America as well, on a Fox channel, so, and also in Canada. So this was another reason I wanted to put Paul on the station, because unfortunately the Amir Khan fight, well, it wasn't even on Sky. But you know, that was something that their distribution, they don't even know what distribution means. So you know, they're basically, that was a fight that wasn't seen by enough people. You know, of course it doesn't matter in the end because we know how it ended, but the bottom line is this is going to give him exposure in all those key fight territories, which was another important reason in making sure he was on the bill.
Well,
Can I ask, with those kind of American considerations that Eddie was saying, like, would you look at this stage and all, I know you mentioned the September date, but would it be in your head maybe to say that this could be the last time they headline Belfast for a few months or a year, or would that be the way you're thinking at all?
I just think I move on as well as I can and as quick as I can. I want to fight for a world title, and I'm going to do a good job here. There's a possibility of doing that. If it's going to be another country, so be it. But I want to hear, because the support base I have is amazing. No, the Odyssey fall to the neck with all my support to fight for world title. That'd be a dream for me, you know. So hopefully that's what happens. But again, there's so many things you don't know at the moment, you know. So we're just taking this fight as it comes.
How frustrating was it for you personally, like, I mean, in terms of even preparation, maybe not to know opponent, or?
Well, I've been training since Christmas with the possibility of fighting even before this date. Obviously, we hadn't a date tied up there till not that long ago. So I'm in pretty good shape at the moment, actually. So I actually had to find myself taking the foot off the gas a few weeks back, you know, because I don't know what it is. You know, when I get on the night in the best peak condition as possible, you know. So it can get frustrating at times, but you have to just stay focused, because I'm not the only person that's listening at times. Everybody finds themselves in a place sometimes. You have to just stay calm and just stay focused and stay in the gym and keep working.
Presumably, Paul, you're hoping to like get done give and double on the night, and Eddie as well. With your links with Eamon O'Kane's career, are you hoping that Eamon prevails on the night?
Yeah, you know, obviously we've got links with Eamon, and we wish him all the best in the tournament. And I think, you know, he at the moment, if there was a favourite in the tournament, Eamon O'Kane would be the favourite. I think the bookies will show that as well. But you know, at the end of the day, PrizeFighters is one of those events where anything can happen on the night. You know, you can't take anything for granted. It's 3 3-minute rounds, and any fighter who may not beat the other fighter over 12 rounds can beat them, you know, over 3 rounds. And that means something. And you know, at the end of the day, people coming out there throwing leather, trying to knock people out, and people will get knocked out. There'll be shocks, there'll be upsets, but that's part of the night, and it wouldn't be PrizeFighter without it. You know, I'm sure there'll be reserves featuring, I'm sure there'll be cuts, you know, there'll be people getting knocked out, there'll be controversy, but that's all part.
Reserves, Eddie?
Yeah, we do. We've got one reserve to name. The other reserve which we're announcing is Alan Donnellan from Dublin.
Are the lads just going to get drawn out as they are? Is there going to be a seeding, or how's?
There'll be no seeding. I mean, one thing we've done recently in PrizeFighter is we've done the draw in the ring. The only consideration we have to take in that is that takes a little bit of time in terms of transmission time, and obviously this is the first time we've ever had a main event on PrizeFighter, and obviously with Martin fighting as well, so we've got a lot to cram in on the night. So there may be, this draw may be made before the night. I'm a big advocate of having the draw in the ring, because you've got no chance to plan against your opponent. You know, it's literally right, you're fighting you, go and glove up. You know, without any time to think, and that generally makes for more exciting fights, because if you're studying how to beat him, sometimes you might adapt a strategy that's less entertaining.
When will you confirm that?
Probably in the next couple of weeks.
How do you get Anto Joe Ray then?
Sorry?
Are you going to do
Exactly, yeah, that would be an
Anto?
interesting draw if we did that. And you know, funny things happen in the draw. You know, we had 2 stablemates fight each other in the last PrizeFighter. The 2 Liverpudlians that were in the draw, the PrizeFighter before, got drawn against each other in the first round. So anything could happen, and obviously the one we all want to see is Joe against Anthony. And maybe after this one, we could, if we don't get it on here, we can get it on in the June show, because I'd like to see it.
Is that a bit of genuine bad blood, lads, or is it just a bit of boxing banter?
We don't know each other, but however, this is what you see on the internet is what you will get.
Eddie, sorry, well, I suppose the general question to the 3 lads is, 3 lads in particular, there's 3 unbeaten guys, Ed and Mark and Ryan. So at least 2 always go. Anyone got any comments on it, or anybody?
My comment is that I think an O means less and less in today's sport and today's boxing, because too many people hide behind an unbeaten record, and actually there's so many unbeaten fighters out there who actually aren't that good. And that doesn't apply to these 3, but I could name you so many fighters out there who are 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, 12-0, that the moment they're put in a remotely tough fight, they're going to lose. So really, what are you fighting for? And let's be honest, if you're not any good, why waste your time? You know, at least put yourself into a tough fight and find out if you're any good. You know, and that doesn't apply to these boys, because they are good. You know, you talk about Eamon and Mark, you know, and Ryan, they've got unbeaten records, but like I said before, being in PrizeFighter and losing means nothing. You know, no one looks at you differently. Gary Sykes was a British champion. He entered PrizeFighter, he lost.
first round, I think.
Yeah, first round knockout. You know, and he went on, and I know he lost his British title off there, but no one really. People talked about it, but you know, it's not the end. And you're talking about a British champion there. You know, so for these guys, no one's got anything to lose. You know, they're going to go out there, put their name in lights in front of a massive audience, and have a great opportunity to do something. They're going to be over at Sky in a couple of weeks' time, filming the promo. You know, they're going to have promos running for weeks and weeks on Sky. You know.
Did your dad come up with the concept himself? I mean, I know in the early 60s, Jack Solomons did a similar type thing. He called them novice competitions. Danny McAlinden won it at heavyweight for a start. But then there was nothing on it for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, John Wishausen actually who works with us, I think, come up with the hardcore concept. We had another concept called Last Man Standing, which was a heavyweight concept that was run in the States for a little bit. But the bulk of the reason behind this format is that viewers' attention spans are changing all the time. Now, modern day viewers, when they're watching TV, they're never just watching TV. They're tweeting, or they're having a bet on the computer, or something's going on. So sometimes a 12-round format is not particularly appealing to a casual fight fan. It's exactly the same concept as 2020 cricket. You know, test matches versus 2020 cricket. Any sports fan, I would say that actually, probably of the people turning up to watch this at King's Hall, probably 30, 40, 50% might not have even been to boxing before, or haven't been in many years. You know, but PrizeFighter's a big brand now, it's a big draw, and you haven't got to be Einstein to understand how it works. It's 3 rounds with 2 blokes trying to bash each other up as quickly as possible. And it is, like I said, winner stays on. You know, and double your money every time. £4,000 just for turning up, £8,000 for losing in the semi-finals, 16 grand for making the final, and 32 grand for winning it. And you're not going to get that kind of money anywhere. I mean, 4 grand.
16 for the runner-up.
16 for the runner. You double your money every round, so 4, 8, 16, 32. But you know, 4 grand even for a 3-rounder. I mean, you know,
it's myself, Eddie.
No, yeah, I know. I'm not sure you'll make the weight, but you know, we'll have to have a check weight.
And hold on, we never said middleweight.
Yeah. No, but listen, the money's great, but more importantly than that, it's the dream of going and winning this thing, and you know, it is a massive, massive deal, and it will change their life, not just financially, but it will change everything. Because all of a sudden you're PrizeFighter champion, then you're going on, and before you know it, you know, I'm looking at potential opponents for Proxer, our European champion, or you've got British titles or Commonwealth titles. You know, because once you're a PrizeFighter champion, you're a big, big name, and Sky want you back.
In the more recent PrizeFighters, you've had Prospect, PrizeFighter Prospect. Is there going to be any of that?
Yeah, the PrizeFighter prospect is Martin Lindsay. He's one of the best prospects I know.
He's too old to be a prospect.
No. Yeah, in a lot of the ones we've been doing in the UK at the moment, we've been putting a young fighter on the bill. But obviously with Paul added and now Martin added, you know, we could potentially look at a youngster coming on before Martin. But I mean, there's so much going on. You know, and to be honest with you, if I put any more fights on, it's going to cost me a fortune. You know, but at the end of the day, I think Martin Lindsay, PrizeFighter, and Paul McCloskey is such a great night.
Oh no!
And you know, I'm glad you agree. But
Mark,
you know,
how about it'll be nearly a year and a half out of the ring. Has that been a
15 months.
Has that been frustrating?
It has been frustrating. I had damaged a few ligaments and a couple of fights fell through, but I've been training away the whole time through it. So, you know, I should be all right once I get this first fight out of it.
Best of luck anyway, Pat.
Thank you.
any other questions?
It's obviously a great opportunity, Martin, to get yourself back at the stage where you were before you lost it.
Definitely being on a big show in Belfast, it's always great. And with this line-up in PrizeFighter, you know, they're all brilliant fighters, they're all putting it on the line, and then Paul is the main event. You know, it's just a privilege to be on the undercard of it.
Alright guys, thank you again for all your support. Honestly, I mean that every time we come over here, we get a massive amount of support from the media and websites and your fans and promoters and managers. It means a lot, and we look forward to coming back soon for another press conference and a great night on May the 5th.